All right, we'll start videoing again. Hopefully this is picking up the audio. I can't even tell. I was just about to check how it did with Emily's. All right.
Always overdub.
Huh?
You can always overdub
Well, I can.
National Geographic style.
Well, I do that with so many of our videos. I don't know if you've watched any of our videos lately.
I have. Well, yeah.
Lately, because there's so many more. Because I keep doing more and more and more. All right, so we're gonna be putting a big shout out to our buddy Mike Card with his Mike Card comb and his Mike Card shears. We're using the KTs. They're like some of my favorites. So one of the things that we're definitely gonna look at, and I'm gonna start with, just like I would any other haircut, a haircut usually starts with weight. So you can already see when we look at this, there's like it pushes in and then it comes out. So that's the first thing we're gonna do is knock out that. We gotta create our shape first. So we're gonna just go right into where we see it. We have purple into red. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna come in, we're gonna use our Tech-Tiche and just like start to soften that line. First it's not gonna be much, but the next section you're gonna see a little more. Just getting that so it no longer has that over direction back. It takes that weight. There it is. Boom, shakalaka. Say goodbye.
How do you know when to like stop?
Head shape. Oh, what do you mean?
No, like stop, like texturizing.
Oh, when it's almost going all the way through. I'm actually cutting a clean line
Oh, okay.
because I'm moving it back and forth, so I'm trying to create a clean line.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using the texturizer to give me
Like
a solid line,
Yeah.
but it still gives me a soft line. This is a trick we did in the 70s. Actually, I wasn't doing hair in the 70s, so I have no idea. This is a very traditional technique, though, for the 80s. Because it creates that soft, it's not a straight line. But you can already see,
Yeah.
I didn't even do anything, but just took out one little corner. Now we have, yeah. Now we're gonna go to the other side and look at the same thing. See if it's there. Now this side doesn't have as much of it. It's interesting. So then when I come in, we'll go back in the same way, that diagonal. Here they left it heavier on the bottom. There you can see it. So on this side, it was not cut. There it is. All the way through. All the way through. Start to soften that edge up. And again, I'm not cutting any of the length. All we're doing is breaking up that interior. And we're just kind of like starting to put in the shape so it moves with the head shape versus being heavier. Next place we're going to look for shape change is right through the nape, into the nape here. So if we look at the nape, you can already see it's coming in, then there's the point, and then it starts to collapse. So what we're going to do is get rid of this point. So I'll be working vertically. There's that point. I'm just going to work through until it's nice and gone. Slightly diagonal. Slightly gone. And this will just start to push that weight that was heavy on the bottom and start pushing it up towards the top where we want it. Working that all the way through. Now I'm working in slight diagonals. I'm taking large sections. I'm not being as detail oriented because it's like the shape is basically there. We're really trying to just break it up. So you can already see that starts to blend everything. I'll go to the other side. Here I have to change my finger position to down. Still cutting from the bottom on up. etching those pieces in. And see where wicked colic, isn't that what you called it?
Yeah.
Your wicked colic. Now, because of her wicked colic, I'm not going to over direct back, but instead I'm going to be bringing it straight out. So you can see how I'm switched, so I'm cutting to the top of my fingers. Because body position, if I wanted to keep cutting on this, it would leave it heavy still. I need to get rid of that heaviness right behind her ear. And there it is. So I'm changing my finger position to get rid of that heaviness underneath. I think that's the key thing, is sometimes we don't always think about, we just cut for cut's sake, and we gotta remember what we're trying to do. Sometimes we gotta cut palm to palm, sometimes we have to cut over our fingers, depending on the shape that we're trying to create. Now I can't do over my fingers on this side, I'd kill myself. So I have to go in palm to palm. But it's the same thing, it's super heavy right behind her ear. So we gotta go in and get rid of that. Now I switch to just using my comb, because my comb is replacing my fingers. There, you can already start to see that shape difference. We haven't done a whole lot yet. Now that we've just worked on our shape, now we can start to lighten up this heavy corner, pushing everything this direction, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so as we do, we'll start right through the top, find that colic. We're gonna elevate up, and you're gonna see a point right here. Say goodbye.
See ya.
See you later, we don't need you. Now if you notice, I'm changing my finger position. My first finger in angle is here, but as soon as the head shifts, I shift my fingers and I'm softening. I'm not cutting it all the way through. We're saving that weight and that length. We want it to be soft. I just want to, like, so you can already see the breaking up of that heavy spot. Same with the next piece. You're gonna see that point. There it is. Get rid of it.
Is that from over direction as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That'd be my guess. I mean, I didn't cut it, so I don't know, but that'd be my guess. But now we can start to get some, like, liveliness with your, with your cut too, because it's going to start to do some cool stuff. Underneath, I'm going to break. So if you saw what I just did, I went under, took the red. Not trying to cut any of the black, I wanted to soften just the red underneath. Boom. It's already starting to move. So if you cut in the direction that you want it to flow, you're gonna, see, look at the difference. It's like, you can just see it.
Yep.
It's like, boom.
Yep.
I don't know why it's there. I just know it's there. So now I gotta get rid of that line. And then down towards the bottom, take that next corner out. But if you notice, I'm only cutting small pieces like this much at a time. Because that's the curve of the head. I gotta work with the curve of the head. And right now, we're still doing the same thing we were, which is we're putting in shape. We haven't even started the texturizing process. I mean, it is, because we're using the texturizer.
Yeah.
But it's really, now it's starting to move. Break this red up. Starts to move.
So I've worn my parts the way that you're doing it and the way that I've done it the other way. Which way do you think is better? The
This
whole
way.
top of my head goes forward, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
This just seems like it goes this way most naturally.
Yeah, because I'm fine with whatever.
Even if you bring it straight forward, you'll see like it wants to bend.
Yeah.
Kind of that direction.
Okay.
Because now it'll actually, see, now you can actually do stuff with it. kind of cool once it starts doing stuff. You
Yeah.
know? Now this piece we haven't even lightened up yet. So then we come in here. There's our heaviness. Can you see the shape?
Yep.
Again, not cutting any of that perimeter. Just lightening up. So now it starts to flow. And I think the biggest thing with, like, especially with pixie cuts, it's all about detail. Because the only difference between long hair, short hair, men's hair, women's hair, pixie cut is the length, and then from the length it's based on the detail of it. You can get away with a lot more with longer hair, and especially, you know, that's the big reason lately, biggest reason like the last 5-6 years that everyone's been doing like beachy curly waves is to hide their not so good color placements.
Okay.
Cannot wait for that to go away.
It's starting to a little bit.
I know, it's starting to move into more like an old set, or like the old Farrah Fawcett book, which
Yeah.
is way better. That little bit more lived in feel. Just more, it's more modern, it's more fresh. And it's already, if you're starting to see it on Instagram, it already means it's happening.
Yeah.
It's just that it's depending on who and what. It just means it'll be about 4 more years before it hits Minnesota. It's so slow.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny. It's like when I was working with Paul Mitchell, you know, 12 years ago, we were 13 years ago. We were already. That's when we started showing, like, we call them motorcycle waves and beach waves, and that was like the big thing back then. That means it's time to be done. It's like 12 years. Sometimes people don't always realize that I've been like doing them that long. And I'm like, because I've been doing them.
That's called trend setting.
No, that was not trend setting. That was like they were hip and cool like 12, 13 years ago.
I feel like movement's always going to be cool though, in some degree, because everybody always wants what they can't have.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have those curly girls that want straight hair, and then those, you know.
Movement is the most important part of hair.
Yeah.
That's why I love razor cutting, is you create movement. It's like, and I do still like, and you'll even notice like the newest collection from Fidel Sassoon, Odyssey. I'm actually going to get that. I've got that video and I'm going to post it all up and get that going. But once we start seeing that, you'll even notice their whole collection is softer movement, more texture.
Which is
Texture
huge,
and
'cause
movement.
when you think of Vidal Sassoon, you think of structured. And
But
shape.
it's structured texture. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be using I'm going to keep using this tool. So the first thing I did is I went through and removed the weight and the shape and readjusted the shape. Now I'm going to go in and do texturizing. Now when I texturize with this, I'm going to work in horizontally. So I'm going to first kind of lift, see where the hair is starting to get dense and where the color is variation. And I'm just going to go in, pull up, just cut once, pull out. It's going to be heavier. So I'm actually creating like deeper vertical chunks. I'm not actually trying to it's not chop, chop, chop. I'm not trying to create a wispiness. I want it to start to collapse. Now, in the back I work very horizontally. When I get to the sides, because of the neck, I'm not going to cut horizontally. I'm going to diagonal with the head shape. Same thing, deep, single cut. Now what I love about the KT slides is the fact that you can go in, cut, and slide right out. Because then you can really see where that texture is going to live, and if it's doing what you want it to, you can already start to see it'll start to break that up. I'm going to break onto this side, same thing. Kind of go in. Now you can see a little bit of weight here, so if there's a little weight, I'll break that up. Then go in. Sorry, that pulled. I can peel that one. Lighten that up. Right behind the ears, same thing. Really see that texture. Right behind the ears, I'm just going to lighten up. It's so heavy back there. Start to see that difference. Now, I'm not hitting anything near her colic. If I hit anything, there's already a lot of action going on here. I don't need to create more action. And that's the thing that's really important, is like when you're looking at textures, like you gotta read the hair, see what the action is telling you, and only add action where you need it. So even down below here, I didn't need to add action where I needed it. It's right here where it's heavy. Same with in here, same thing, elevate, add that action. Think of texturization as creating movement and shape within a shape. It has to have a reason and a purpose, otherwise you shouldn't do it. So it's like reading the hair, seeing what it's doing, pop it in where you want it. Just little bits, and you can start to see it coming alive. Better?
Yeah.
And being a hairdresser, I mean, how long have you been with us now? 5?
Yeah, 5 years.
I was gonna say, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, and it's kind of cool. What is the biggest thing that you've learned and gained working at Marks?
Well, hair school teaches you the basics, but going in and actually learning why you're doing what you're doing, I think was one of my biggest things that I learned. And it took me like 2 years to figure it out, but why am I cutting 2 inches off on this side and 1 inch off on the other side? Stop and think about it. Or especially with texturizing, like, why am I holding my shears this way and why am I holding my hands out this way? So just like knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
Especially since cutting doesn't come easily for me, I feel like I've had to work on that a lot longer. And I feel like this within the last year or two is when I really felt comfortable. Like, yes, I can kind of do anything that you bring to me,
It's interesting. I mean, I've been cutting hair for almost 30 years, and I feel like I'm just starting to understand cutting.
Well, that's the fun part, but daunting part about our job is you're never gonna be done. But that's cool, but it's also scary.
Well, yeah.
But mostly cool.
It's pretty tough. It's kind of like it's been interesting. I've been trying to explain more and more of this to some of the newer people that just started recently. It's kind of like a way of looking at a job. So it's like you compare, yourself to some of your friends that are in college. They're in a 4-year program. And going to beauty school is just year 1 of your 4-year program. It really takes you about 4 to 5 years to become a hairdresser.
Well, have you ever heard me tell my clients, when I was a rising star, that I would always joke that I was in grad school for hair?
That's what it is, yeah.
And I was also a rising star for 2.5 years, so when the new people complain, I yell at them.
2.5 years
Lovingly.
is that's about right, though.
No, I know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It should take your first 2 to 3 years is should be you building a clientele and paying attention to it. As I say, our average employee as a rising star is usually 2 to 3 years. So it's and it kind of has been for many, many, many years. It really takes that long to build, because it's really about building a clientele. You can't move to a master level until you have built a clientele.
Yeah.
Otherwise you fail.
Yep.
And actually you, out of your whole crew, I think you're the only one left.
Yeah.
But also what's fascinating is you were the only one, you actually moved along much faster than anyone else was. Because you were actually, you reached like your retention rate faster than anybody else, and you jumped up a commission while you were Rising Star. You jumped to the second level of commission pay, which is based on retention, much faster than anyone else ever has.
Yep.
Which is like something to that's really a huge thing, and it's something to remember, and that's something to share, because for you to be successful, that's what it takes to be successful. And the other Rising Stars that were in your little group, they weren't doing that. They weren't building a clientele, and thus a lot of them got frustrated and left. And that's so sad for me. It's like, that's the part that drives me crazy. It's like, we give you the tools, but we can't make you, it's like we can give you all the tools to make bread, but we can't make you make bread, right?
Yeah.
You know, we can give you all the tools and the ability to do it, and set the expectation, but I can't do anything beyond that.
Well, and I think what people forget is that it's like any other job, really. If you're a lawyer, they're not just gonna give you like a murder case right out of the gate.
They're not?
No.
Oh.
At least they shouldn't.
They're not going to give
I'm
you.
not a lawyer, but I can assume.
You can
Lawyery
assume
things.
Lawyery things. I'm not a lawyer either.
No. But
This looks so much better.
yeah.
It changed the shape.
I just wanted to look like I was in a rock band, and I didn't look like I was in a rock band.
Well, I don't want you to look like you were like grandma hanging out at a soccer match, trying to like act like you're in a rock band.
Gosh, that's how I, yeah. That's
want
how
you
was, Go ahead.
I want you to feel like you are in a rock band.
Yeah.
My recommendations for you for next time, okay? Don't cut your hair for a while.
No, I wasn't planning on.
Now the goal is go about, I would say, you should probably get it cut in about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay,
And
I go
usually
about
when-
14 weeks.
So I was gonna say like 12 weeks would be good, but don't even cut this, because you're gonna want to cut this. Don't cut it. If you want it to be soft and shaggy, you need this to get softer and shaggier.
Okay.
Because right now, that's the thing. If this is too short and tight and this is soft and shaggy, it's gonna kind of look like grandma.
Okay.
So you want to to get it a little bit more modern, this has to be like softer.
Okay.
Because that's softer. That's what is modern.
Yeah.
Modern is softer on the edges. I mean, I know people hate mullets, but mullets have been in for the last 3-4 years, and I think we're going to see more and more and more shags, mullets, movement, texture down here, because that's just the direction a hair is moving.
I don't hate it, I just get nervous because I don't have much of an occipital bone, and so I worry that having that length down there will just make my head feel
It actually won't, because here, let me show you what,
flatter.
you're going to see, it's going to, what we just did changed everything, so watch what happens. So even what we just did today, now, and I didn't cut any of this.
No, I know.
What happens is if they leave this right here too heavy, and then you have this, it's going to look dumb. So for you, you want to be able to have it so that it has, this should actually be a little bit longer, just like right there.
Yep.
If it's a little touch longer, it'll give you a little better growth. And then this stuff has to be a little shorter, and then this can just be a little softer. Even just a little bit longer than this. Doesn't even have to be tons longer. But just so it starts to do what it's doing here, needs to happen here.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It just needs to be a little tiny bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
Because then you'll start to feel more like a bird. Well, like feathery.
I almost started singing, and I won't sing for
Or you can
everybody's
sing.
sake.
You can sing. You're a good singer.
Because I can sing doesn't mean I should sing.
Well, I can't sing, but I do.
True.
I know. I was actually, someone was trying to get me to book Vern from Rope Belt to another show. He needs to come back for his 5th reunion show. This time it'll be called Vern Does Rope Belt Covers.
Oh my gosh. I like that you have it planned out.
Oh yeah, you have to have the marketing plan before you do anything. All right.
All right.
New do.
Thank you.
Yeah, and don't shampoo your hair very often. Just condition.
All right.
Co-wash and condition.
So
It'll be your
yesterday I
thing.
did co-wash
Perfect.
by Erojo.
Excellent. That's the best way to do it.
All right.
Peace.